today's video, we're going to be showing you how to remove the suspension plate on this top-load washer. So the first thing we want to do in order to get at the component to remove it is we're going to remove the cabinet. So we're just going to insert our putty knife on top of the cabinet into that slot, press forward, and that lift up and that releases the catch. And we'll do the same on the other side. And our console will lift up and flip back. So the next step we want to do is disconnect our harness to our lid switch. On this model, it's located here in this corner. On other machines, it may be located in the other side or in the middle, but there will still be an electrical connection that you'll want to disconnect. And so all we need to do is just to raise that tab and pull the harness back away from the switch, and you're disconnected. Our next step will be to remove this clip and a similar one on the other side that'll unlock the back from the cabinet. And to do that, we're just going to use a blade screwdriver, insert it down into the clip, pull backwards, and remove the clip. So again, we'll just take our blade screwdriver, set it down into the clip, pull back, and it pops right off. With those clips released and our harness disconnected, we're able to take the cabinet off of this. To do so, we just got to tip it forward, open our cover so we can get a hold of it, and just lift it away. Then we're going to want to remove the fabric dispenser and reach down inside, and there's a cap. And there's a bolt down in here that we're going to remove that holds the agitator in place. So the next thing we want to do is remove that agitator bolt with our ratchet wrench and socket. With that bolt loosened, we're able to remove the agitator. And we can now see the drive lug. So now we're going to loosen this drive lug nut. Now on this particular model, there's a couple extra pieces here on the transmission shaft, and this is called an agitator assist. Not all machines have that. It's just part of this model that they use in order to help the dual stage agitator work. So to remove it, all we need to do is just to lift it up off, and the same with this piece. And we'll set it to one side, and now we can loosen that nut. Now the nut is a little unusual in the fact that it's round and has 4 notches in it. The manufacturer designed that way in order to use their sort of specialized wrench that has 4 lugs that lock into it. And you're basically striking it with a hammer to get it to loosen up. If you don't have one of these wrenches, and it's hard to sometimes borrow them, you can also use just a regular type of wrench, just something with a good length and thickness to it, and you can just insert it into that one of those lugs. You can also do it this way as well, locking in the front piece. Sometimes they're on really tight, and if they are, then you may have to borrow the wrench to take it off, but this method works pretty well. Unthread that nut and set it aside. So our next piece to come off is going to be our tub ring, and it's very easy to remove. It's just held with these plastic pieces. And you're just going to push down on your tub ring and pull the tab out. And there's several all the way around the perimeter, and you'll just do that on each one. Now to get at the drive lug, we need to remove this inner basket. This inner basket is actually sitting on the lug, and that's its main purpose, is to hold the basket to the drive shaft. So now we'll just sort of move the machine forward a little bit and wiggle that basket so it's free, and it'll come up off of that drive lug. So with the basket out, we're just going to remove the drive lug, and they can be a little hard coming off. Some of them will be easy, like this one, just to lift off. You may have to actually take a hammer or your wrench or whatever and just tap it from underneath and have it pop off. Okay, so our next step is going to be, we're going to be removing some things from the tub itself, and the easiest way to do this job as well is to remove that back. So to do that, we're just going to have to free up our electrical harness to our motor, which is right here. So I'm just going to pull that tab, wiggle our harness off. There's also a little retaining pin. So just squeeze this little pin together with your fingers, and that retainer drops right out. So now our harness is free. We're also going to undo our water pressure hose from the tub simply by giving a little turn and a pull. We'll pull it up out of the retainer on the tub. So it's now free. So our next step is going to be to release our pump from the motor assembly just by popping off these two clips. And we're going to release the clamp on this upper hose just by squeezing with our pliers and pulling it back. Your washer may have some water inside, so that when you pull this hose off, you're going to get some water coming onto the floor, so you just maybe want to put some towels down to capture that. So now we'll just want to remove this hose retainer from the leg, taking our pliers, giving it a little squeeze, and it'll pull right out of the frame. So with our pump disconnected and out of the way, I'm just going to turn the machine around again so you can see the back, and we're going to take the back right off of the washer. Okay, so our next step to take the back off is you'll see that you have a little plastic tab right here in the back. So you want to just turn that so that the back will fall back towards you. Once you get that released, you're just going to remove the two 15/16 inch screws. With those removed, you're going to be able to remove the entire back of the washer from the machine. So our next step is going to be, we're actually going to turn this whole thing right upside down. With it upside down, now we can take out 3 bolts and remove our motor and transmission. So to remove our motor transmission assembly, we're just going to use our 1/2-inch socket, ratchet wrench, and just loosen them right off and take the bolts out. So our next step will be to take our springs off our machine. 1/4-inch nut driver will just remove the screw for the bracket. Just going to apply a little tension to it to offset the spring on the other end. And then we have another one around this side. And there's one more back here, same as the last bracket we just took off. Now we're just going to lift our motor and transmission out. And with that out of the way, we lift our base off. So there, so now you have your suspension plate off, and if you're seeing any kind of wear on your suspension plate, such as this one where the paint's starting to wear off, if that's worn off a lot, you're probably experiencing a fair bit of vibration and jumping around to the tub when you're in spin cycle. If you are seeing that, then you need to replace it.